Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I will be lowering my 2023 Subaru BRZ on some Eibach lowering springs. I have all the hardware and all of the tools ready and prepped and ready to go, but I just wanted to do a little quick walk around for the last time and hopefully get rid of all that wheel gap. The aftermarket wheels that I have on, the Inky T6S's, these are 18 by 8 and a 45 offset. They started growing on me a little bit, but I was like, nah, you know, it's great comfort, ride comfort overall, but I definitely want the car to be lower just a little bit. And the reason why I'm going to go with lowering springs is just because all I really want at this point in time is just to lower the car just slightly, and I'm not really keen on dialing in like coilovers and such just yet, because I haven't even gone to the track. I want to get some experience, you know, behind the wheel first before I start dialing in and start spending a lot of big money on, you know, my whole overall suspension setup. So yeah, this is how she sits. Not bad, to be honest, because the BRZ and the GR86, honestly, I think at stock height they're already sitting pretty low, but you can tell it is very noticeable from the side when you look at it. Like, it's not, you see that wheel gap, and honestly it's atrocious to me. So let's get into the garage and start lowering this thing. So for this install, I'll be installing these Eibach lowering springs. My guess is that they're going to be lowering the car by about 0.5 inches, which is more than enough for this specific vehicle, and as well as these white line camber bolts. So these are the 16 mil that goes on top. I will show you guys this later in a little bit, but just an FYI, on these GR86/BRZ platform, there's no type of camber adjustment from factory, so you're definitely going to have to pick these up if you're going to be using your stock struts. However, you won't need to use this if you're switching over to coilovers. So just an FYI. And lastly, I rented this from O'Reilly's Pick Yourself Up, one of these spring compressor kits, and so they're about 50 bucks, but you know, it's a very easy rental process. So with that, let's get it started. I'm going to start off with the back side since it's a lot easier. The first thing I did was I went ahead and removed all the panel pieces on the rear, which provides me access to the two nuts right here. These are both going to be 14 millimeters. I'm going to lightly loosen them and then raise the car up from the back using the diff. So after you've raised your car from the diff, you're going to want to take off your wheels, which will gain you access to the rear lower control arms. So both of these bolts require 17 mil, whereas this one right here requires a 14 mil. So what you want to do is loosen these two and then pivot this control arm off, which will allow you access to remove this piece right here. All right, and here goes the first. And there's two. So just an FYI, make sure to wear gloves because the lubricant that they use on the bolts are grimy and nasty. Okay, so in order to access and loosen this, what you're gonna have to do is take a vice grip and use a 14 mil. We don't have a pass-through socket, but put it on. And then there's going to be an Allen wrench that you're going to want to place in the middle. This is a 3x16, and you're just going to place it down and you're just going to hand loosen. This is actually a very easy process, but before that, we're going to have to mount the spring compressor on this just in case, so this doesn't pop out and hurt us. Now that we've taken it off, I just wanted to show you a side-by-side comparison. The OEM shock is on the right, and then the Eibach is on the left, and you can see the big difference here. Before we put the Eibach on, we're going to have to take this off and shave off this piece right here and then place it back in. Alright, now that we jacked the rear lower control arm back in place, I'm going to put the torque specs on screen for this, as well as the torque spec for these. Now moving on to the front, I recommend starting off at the bottom after you've taken your wheel off. You're going to need a 6 mil Allen wrench for this piece right here, and you're going to require two 19 millimeter socket for these two pieces. And then as for the top, these will require 12 millimeters. Just a little quick update. I was being stupid. I used a 6mm Allen wrench when I didn't see that there was a hex right behind this. I recommend using a 17mm along with a breaker bar. It makes it so much easier than trying to unbolt this with the Allen. Okay, so now that we got the front off, this is a little bit tedious, and the specs are just a little bit different. You're going to need a 6mm Allen wrench and a 14mm long socket in order to get this top hat off. And this is how we're doing it. And I also just want to show a little side-by-side comparison on the lowering springs on the right side versus the OEM on the left. These are both for the front of the vehicle. You can tell a big noticeable difference in the length. Okay, so now that we got everything back in place, I just wanted to show you. I don't see this on YouTube quite often, but this is the white line camber bolt. This will be going on the top part here. The orientation is exactly as so, like this, and this will help the shop align your vehicle to spec. So it'll provide it now with some camber. All right, and after a long day, we finally have the Eibach lowering springs put on my car. It's gonna definitely take a week for it to settle, but right now, first impressions, it looks sick. It looks a lot better than it was before, and I'm definitely gonna scrape. I know that for sure. I go back to the scraper life. I also definitely need an alignment too, but yeah, looks pretty good. All right, there she goes. It looks good. I think it'll definitely get a little bit more of a drop after the springs settle in. How does it feel?
It feels great.
Feels good?
Beautiful. It handles the corners really good.
All right, I'm gonna go back to O'Reilly's to drop this off really quick, and I'll be right back. Oh, keys?
Oh, it's inside.
Okay. All right, and while I go to O'Reilly's, I will do an impressions video. I'm sure my alignment's a little bit off. But right off the bat, a little bouncy. Definitely feel more planted. Again, I always kind of consider the whole placebo effect because we did spend pretty much the whole day installing these lowering springs. But at least initial impressions, right out the gate from driving on good road, it feels pretty much almost exactly like stock suspension. I think that's when I take my turns is when I will feel more of the effects of these lowering springs. But yeah, nothing could beat these in terms of budget. You know, $350 for these lowering springs, and you still get to use your stock struts. And pretty much I'm at a little over 1,000 miles on the dash, and this car is still basically brand new. So, my only qualms is that I kind of want to fully utilize my stock struts too that came with the car. So, here it is. Here's the compromise. Bought these fairly cheap, inexpensive lowering springs. Got the right height I wanted. Ooh, definitely a lot more bouncy. Granted, the BRZ is already pretty bouncy. Definitely noticed the road noise is a little bit higher. Bouncy and road noise. Kind of reminds me a little bit of my WRX all over again, but at least this car rides a lot better. The WRX definitely was a lot faster, but this car rides a lot more funner.
But yeah, these I'm sure the ride quality will change a little bit after a week or so of these springs settling in. I definitely need an alignment. Fortunately, it's not too bad, but yeah, I'm gonna have to get them dialed in sometime this week, just to be on the safe side, because I don't want my tires to be eaten away by all the mismatched offsets. But unfortunately, where I live, there's not that many windy roads. I have to actually venture out quite a bit from Sacramento in order to get to the windy roads. Hobo G8. This, I think, TL. But yeah, I will make a follow-up video and give you guys my input on how it's like after a week of owning these Eibach lowering springs on my 23 BRZ, and also kind of give you guys my post impressions, because right now it's very bumpy. Definitely hear more road noise, and in terms of handling, I think handling still feels the same. I don't necessarily feel more of a sway, but I think that's just a placebo effect of me spending the whole day pretty much installing this on my car. But I hope you guys like this video. If you do, give it a thumbs up. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace!